Phasmophobia and R.E.P.O just released 2 big updates. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with the updates. And Zoth's going to go over some of the indie games she played this week. Are there any worth playing? We're going to learn about that and more in today's episode. Welcome back to the Lil Zoth of Horror podcast. As always, I'm Lil P, joined by Zoth. And Zoth, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. We had a lot of big updates this week, which will primarily be what we discuss today. So starting out, first one, June 24th, Phasmophobia released their Chronicle update, which pretty much changed the way you got perfect games and included adding a brand new sound recorder into the game. And when the update first dropped, what were your sort of initial reactions after you started playing it?
Oh, I love the update. My favorite part about it is the sound recorder. It's so much fun, and it just breathes a whole new life into the game.
Yeah, it was. I was really excited for the update, basically because getting rid of the cheesing salt photos to get a perfect game was a good call because it made the gameplay too boring. Not much variation, not reason to go away from that sort of strategy. So to have to get more unique stuff was a lot of fun. But as with every update, we're going to go over the good, bad, and the ugly with this update because not everything was peachy king and roses and all that. There were some issues, which some of it got patched right away, which was kind of disappointing. Like I wanted to see the mimic dots. Mimics could give dots apparently if it mimicked a Goryo. I did not get a chance to see that. Did you? You didn't see that either, did you?
I didn't even know that. No, I never knew that.
Yeah, that was
No.
that was a thing. It was also a thing where Goryo would give dots on no evidence. I did not get that one. I saw a clip of someone getting it. I think it was Justly, but that would have been cool if it still stayed in the game because Goryos are super annoying. But either way, those were a couple things that did get fixed. Melissa, I'll start here with one of my good things, which is kind of what we talked about. Probably the best thing about the update. Perfect games feel more satisfying and like you put more work and effort into getting a perfect game. And I think,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, the variations of everything. So in case you're living under a rock or have no idea what it was. So instead of getting 10 photos, 10 3-star photos for a perfect game, it's now broken up into 3 tabs. It's a media tab that has photos, videos, video recordings, and sound recordings. So you need to get 5 unique photos, 5 unique video recordings, and 3 unique sound recordings. Some of these go together. Like, for instance, you can video record the ghost doing ghost writing and also record the sound of the writing to get the unique video recording and sound recording tabs, so you can kind of work together to get that. And it makes you pay attention to more what's going on versus just throwing things in for no reason. And that was one thing, or not for no reason, but just sort of like second nature. Like, because for instance, if before the update, if I was playing a professional game or anything, I'm starting with the video camera, EMF reader, UV light. I'm finding the ghost room, putting that stuff down. First trip back, doing dots, ghostwriting book, putting down the ghostwriting book, and then maybe like spirit box, trying a spirit box, see if the ghost will do that. Then come back out, bring back in the thermo. You know, it's the same thing again and again and again. Sort of get into that routine. Now, if we were to do that and you put down the ghostwriting book and the ghost writes in it, well, you've missed your chance for video recording the ghostwriting or sound recording it. And it really makes you sort of pre-plan like, okay, I need to bring this stuff in, but now what order do I want to do things because I don't want to miss it. Or if you do, you know, there's many other things that you can take advantage of with it. But I know that's to me where it was like, okay, hold on, I don't want to put everything down and get this stuff because I want to fill it in the media tab for doing that. And that, did you find yourself kind of doing the same thing where you were like, hold on, let me not put down everything right away, let me bring it in, but not necessarily use it right away? Yeah, I don't know what the
yeah, exactly. It changed the whole dynamic uh, of the gameplay with that. Like, you don't want to set down the ghostwriting book. You don't want to set down Assault until you're ready to be able to record it with the video camera, at least. And before, you would just go in, throw everything down, and wait for the evidence to come in. So it definitely adds a new dimension and more depth to the gameplay, which I'm really impressed with this update.
Yeah, and it makes sense that you want to get as much evidence as possible for a ghost investigation to figure out if it's real, right? You're not just going to be looking at like one picture and say, oh, yeah, that's real. Versus, here, well, we got a picture of this and this and this. And now we got this video recording. We got all this audio. We got like all this. How can you possibly tell me it's like not real type thing? But getting a perfect game like that, it definitely feels like you're work towards it. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the good things. What's another good thing you saw with the Phasmo update?
Well, like I said, the sound recorder is my favorite. There's so many new sounds. Um, I did lose a round because I didn't know what the banshee sounded like anymore. But there's so many new sounds and the creepy things to record, like the door rattling and uh, all the different moans and groans and like whispering "get out," things like that. That's got to be my favorite part of the game now.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had on mine was the new sounds are awesome. Now, apparently there's like 20 different banshee scream variations, which is crazy.
That's
Oh,
insane.
yeah, maybe a bit overkill. The game actually tells you if it's a banshee scream too, so I think a lot of it's with the sound recorder. But if you do able to
Only if
record
you
it,
record it. If you hear
yeah,
it in the paramic, trust me, that's how I lost.
I have
You
to.
won't know it.
I'll have to. I don't know. I didn't play Sunny Meadows a whole lot. Do they still have that like ambient scream in there? Do you know?
I did play Sunny Meadows once when the update hit, but I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't remember. I know I did try APOC 3, which is when I played Sunny Meadows, but I kind of playing Sunny Meadows so much sort of tune out those noises, so I don't even
Mm,
remember if it was there or not. But yeah, all the new sounds I thought just well done. They are a little bit loud at times, which I think they mentioned in their patch notes that some of the sounds are a little bit louder. I'm sure it'll be fixed in the future, but yeah, seeing the new interactions and the items floating up in the air before being thrown, doors rattling before closing. I think part of that was done so you could also have time to record
yeah,
to
yeah,
see it, so it gave the sort of warning, which was one of the things that I was worried about was how lenient sort of is the video recording going to be, because if you have
yeah.
to do it like right when it happens and see the whole thing and it didn't backtrack at all, then that might be a little bit more annoying to get. But it looks like if you catch like in the middle of it, it'll count, and that's good because not all of us have super fast reflexes to
Right.
to be able to get it in time. But I was impressed with the leniency that it gave to recording things, and even recording the ghost during the hunt. I did it while looping it, and not everybody can loop the ghost and record and do all that right away. So it was like, even though if you were like to stand down a hallway and record the ghost and then smudge it, or even smudge and record and then run off to your hiding spot, you should still have enough time to be able to do that, which is
Yeah, I did that. It's not that hard to do. So they do make it easy for you to be able to record the ghost during the hunt, I think.
yeah.
Unless you got a rev.
Yeah, then it would be a little bit,
Then you might not want to do
yeah.
it.
But so yeah, the new sounds were awesome. Everything in there. I've enjoyed the sound recorder. And another thing that I was really pleased with the update, Goryo dots show way more often on video camera. And if nobody has seen it yet, it's almost like constantly showing dots, which just is amazing. Because they
Yeah.
kept on trying to do fixes of Goryo dots are more likely, Goryo dots are more likely. And I think the whole thing kind of related to, I don't know if this is still the case or not, but in the past, dots were related to the ghost choosing to roam. And because Goryos don't roam a bunch or very far, I think that limited the times that the Goryo dots would show because they're not as likely to roam compared to other ghosts because they don't roam far or really or change rooms at all. And I think that's where sort of the hiccup was. So when I read the patch notes before the update dropped and it was Goryo dots are going to be more often, I was like, I've heard this before. Let's see if it's actually there. But then I haven't seen it in game myself, but I've seen other people get it, and it is just like constantly doing dots, and it's really really good. Actually, I think we did get Goryo dots one time when we played together the other night. But
Yes, we did. I didn't see it, but yeah, you said that was we had a Goryo.
yeah, because we because it's funny is you can actually get a Goryo dots picture even though there's no dots there. I don't know if that's been hatched out or not.
How is that possible?
Yes. I don't know, but I saw it on stream. I think Mike was the one that got it, and I was like, that is freaking crazy and makes no sense. But if it's in the right area and you see it, then it works. But the Goryo dots are way more active, almost too active, really. But I ain't gonna complain. I will take that over it never showing, which it always seemed like you were sitting there waiting 5-10 minutes to see Goryo dots. You're like, I know this thing is a Goryo because I'm not getting anything else. I
Right.
just want the dots to
Yeah.
confirm.
Right.
And you would like and never see it. What did you notice anything else good that you wanted to mention?
Well, no, I overall I think it's a very positive step for Kinetic. The new additions in the media and the way that they, especially the salt changes. I'm happy with the salt changes. You don't really need to place down a ton of salt now
Yeah,
because you really only need to get the film of it maybe if you want it, or just put one down to see if it's a wraith. It overall I think it's a very positive um update for them.
yeah, and I got a couple more things I want to point out for good. Um,
Okay.
First, van princesses have more to do. So if you are scared to go into the house, which not me, but I know there's a lot of people out there who just enjoy doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that. You still get to enjoy the game. That's like one of the amazing things about Phas, just in general, is you don't even have to play the game to know it and enjoy it and play along. For y'all listening to this may or may not know, but I do a bunch of You Decide videos on YouTube to where you just play along and guess the ghost, and I tell you whether you're right or not at the end and how we figured it out. And you don't even have to have the game. And there's so many people that's like, I don't even have the game, but I guessed the ghost and like playing along with this stuff and doing that. And so even being in the van, because you can record from the van now. So if you set up sound sensors and then you have the video camera set up and everything, they got a lot more that they can do and help out, which is very, very useful because playing as a team is way more efficient now than before.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you have somebody who can take care of the video recording while you're in there getting the sound recordings or photos, that's definitely a lot better. And probably one of the bug fixes that a lot of people probably didn't even realize was a bug, and I almost forgot that this was a bug. The crucifix being used no longer turns out all the lights.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that. I know a lot of people liked the crucifix bug that turn off all the lights, but more often than not, it pretty much had to do with I would get all set up, ready to go, waiting for the ghost to hunt, and then it would burn a cruci and all the lights would be off again. And I'm like, God, now I got to go return all these on and do all this.
Yeah, but if you're in a place, if people like it because if you're in a place that you can't hear the cruci burn, that tells you that the cruci was burnt, so you can, act accordingly. But I get your point.
Yeah, and I will take not having to return on all the lights that I just turned on over over that. Although, I guess in a way it was kind of good because I was like, I forgot the crucifix was in there. So versus waiting forever for the ghost to use the crucifix. But I'm overall happy that that bug was fixed. And I almost forgot that that actually was a bug in
I
the
never knew
game.
it was a bug.
Yeah, it's
I
been
had
in
no
there a
idea.
long time. I think even before the Ascension update. Like, it's been a couple years.
That's
just,
funny.
just crazy. So, before we get to the bad, did you have a strategy that you liked to employ with the new perfect game of what you would take in first, what you would focus on?
Yeah, I just really enjoyed the sound recorder. So I would take that first, and then the thermo, and then maybe like EMF. And I one thing I noticed playing this when they first dropped the update, I played it for about 5.5 hours on stream, and I noticed that as soon as you go in, you get like something touched, object thrown, something that tells you where the ghost is. So, and I was playing, we started on amateur just, to get a feel for the equipment and get used to the new style of play. And even then, instantly something was thrown, or a door was rattled, or something like that would happen. So I think that not having to like search for the ghost room at first is very interesting way of playing it.
Yeah, and I started out on professional just to get the three evidences and do all that, and it was I like starting with the video camera anyways. Uh, sounds were it's tough because I don't even know sort of what the best strategy is right now, like most efficient. Uh, Still trying to work through those, but it's kind of like you want to have the sound recorder, video cam, and photo cam like in your hand almost at all times once you get set up in there. Which I think it's good that you can do that, but then like if you do get hunted and you don't have the incense on you, what are you gonna do
Yeah,
or other
yeah.
stuff? So it's working it out. Like one thing, it's video recordings are really really easy to get. Sound
So are sound
recordings, yeah,
recordings.
sound recordings are fairly easy to get. There's a lot of like easy ones. If you can get one paranormal sound and then firelight getting burned out, then either EMF 5, ghost writing book, or even like Ouija board. You can record the Ouija board sound, and that is
Nice.
super easy. Only a 5% sanity if you just ask it how old it is, and then it goes on into there, and you got that, and boom, recordings are full. But to sort of segue into some of the bad things with the update, the one thing that I think could be improved on is just how hard it is to get some photos, especially for if you play with no sanity or no evidence and no cursed object.
Yeah.
Because essentially, if you don't have evidence and you don't have cursed object, you were down to like you can get the bone photo each game. You're relying on a ghost photo, which is rough to rely on. I can understand getting one, but it can be kind of iffy, especially if you get like a shade or something that doesn't want to do a
Yeah.
bunch. You,
Or one that doesn't have dots.
yeah, so you can take a picture of like the mist ball, but it seems very hit or miss right now. Looks like they need to work on that some. And the EMF reading is really easy to get photo of. You just get a photo of the EMF reader. And that's like, and the rest of the stuff you're kind of just relying on some other things. Burn Cruci you can get fairly easily, but it's like those last few photos where you got to pick between like a ghost photo, maybe two ghost photos. You can technically get a photo of an item hovering in the air before it gets thrown,
Oh, okay.
but that
But that's probably going to be
is
hard to
it
do.
is hard. The timing is rough, and it seems to be inconsistent right now.
Mm,
And so, because again, video recordings, even if playing with no evidence, Very easy. Same thing with sound recorder. And you can look at the good with the bad with it, which if you want to play harder difficulty, it's just going to be harder, but I think it's more time consuming for the sake of time consuming versus actually difficult. And
Yeah.
that's where I feel like they could add some more photos, but it's like, well, what could they possibly add? I don't know. Symbols on the wall? Like maybe ghosts can start doing writing or symbols on the wall. I think that'd be pretty
Be
cool.
cool. Yeah.
I'm sure you can come up with stuff that's not like overly difficult, but just more options for photos for playing with no evidence or no cursed object. Because it's almost like you want to play with the cursed object, even if you don't plan to use it, just for the easy photo.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
one
that would
thing
be
that you didn't
good.
like about the update?
Well, I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but I just noticed that there was some glitchiness happening. Um
Yeah, very buggy for sure.
yeah, I remember I don't know if you saw the clip, but Ghost just zooming across the room. Like it was doing an event, but it zoomed across the room from one corner to the next when we were at Grafton. And that happened a few times. I've seen that a few different games that the same thing happened. So it's definitely a problem. If you're trying to record a ghost event, that's gonna screw you up. And I tried to get a recording of a chair rocking, and it didn't register at all. So I was very confused about that. Well, we had the twins that time. I don't know if
Yeah,
that made
and
a difference.
even like to recording more than one thing that happens at once is very like hit or miss.
Yeah,
Like if you have a ghost step and salt and set off the motion sensor at the same time, you may be able to
yeah,
get both. You may not. Um, and it's tough to record a ghost event even with like the sound recorder right now because the range at which the tier 1 sound recorder works is 3 meters, but if you get kind of that close to the ghost, the event will disappear, so it's almost kind of impossible to
right.
record with the event, which they said they know about the issue. They're going to work on it. I don't know what the fix would be, but we'll have to see about that. So there were some bugs. Some of them got fixed. I thankfully you had the bug where you could not like get off the debrief screen. Like it would not let you.
Yes, that was so annoying when we were playing
Uh,
together. I was stuck there and I had to rejoin the lobby after every single
yeah.
round,
Thankfully that is
even
fixed
after
now.
you restarted it. Oh, okay, that's
So
good.
that was part of the hot fix that they put out Friday. So
I'm glad.
yeah, that should be fixed now. So as with everything, there were bugs with it, and they'll fine tune it. I'm sure. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up 15 other things in the process. But and one thing I think you had mentioned this on your stream, which was there was no tutorial for the sound recorder. It was just
Yeah,
like, here's what it is
yeah,
and go. And
right.
I feel like that was well, bad for the game. Really good for me in my videos because I can put out a sound recorder video and people can, come watch that, which gets more eyes on me. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
And Kinetic, if you want me to make a great tutorial for your sound recorder, hey, I got you. I'm the guy right here. but
Yeah, I struggled with it because it looked like it was on, but I didn't know if it was actually recording or not. And so at first I struggled with that. So I was like, okay, I'll just finish this round and go into the tutorial because they're gonna have it. They show how to use the equipment in the tutorial. I go to the tutorial and it's the old van. Everything, nothing has changed. Nothing in the tutorial was different except the way the video camera behaved, and it showed the little square and being able to record. That's the
yeah.
only thing. I was so mad.
Yeah, and it was like when you kind of figured it out, which I don't know, maybe people like figuring things out on their own, but I've got a lot of comments on my videos like, thank you for this guide, I really needed it.
Yeah.
And It's always one of those things that I've said before, which is like if you have to go to search for an answer for how to use something, I feel like it's a little bit of a failure. So I don't know how
Right.
hard it would have been to do a little tutorial like this is what you want to look for, because it is fairly simple once you get the hang of it. But when you don't know what to look for at first, you're just kind of left more frustrated or like, how did I even get this sound? What spawns it? How do I know? And it's tougher. So I see where I feel like they could have done something just for people like, here it is. This is how you use it. This is what you're looking for, and boom. But Faz has never been one that has like an amazing tutorial. Anyways, and now their tutorial is busted anyways because apparently you can't hear the footsteps during the hunt segment, but I will still stand by. I'm sure that hunt segment in the tutorial is probably still busted because you can leave your flashlight on and the game will say, "Good job, you survived the ghost hunt." And you try doing that in a real ghost hunt and see what happens. So it leaves a lot to be desired. Do you have anything
Yeah.
else on your bad list? Because I got a couple more things.
Um, no, I can't think of anything other than that, other than the glitchiness. Oh, wait, no, the dots. I found it so frustrating. If I was in a smaller room, like the front bedroom in Tangle, for example, if I had a dots ghost, um, it would show the dots, but like a split second, and I could not get the dots photo or record it because it just went away so fast. And I found that happened quite often in the smaller rooms. There was no ability to get the dots photos or videos.
Yeah, the dots like seem to go away faster, or if they hit a wall, they just disappear or something.
Yeah.
Like that's what it
Yeah.
it kind of seems like. So I didn't really have too. I don't think I really had dots ghost that much.
Other than that Goreo.
Yeah, to really mess with it a bunch. Or we would get other stuff where it really wouldn't matter as much. Um,
Yeah.
which like for video recordings in general, you can get a firelight blowout, crucifix burning, disturbed salt, motion
Door
sensed.
moving.
Yeah, like that stuff
Yeah.
way easier than I think you would just waiting for a dots ghost. So when that time, be like, oh cool, we got dots, and like kind of done. And if you get like if you have other evidence too, you're not really worried about the dots photo and all
Right.
that. So I don't think I really dealt with it that much. But one of my bads, which I mean, I put it as bad. I wouldn't put it as ugly or good or anything. But Uris are way more difficult to identify now,
For
and
sure.
I don't know if that's because we haven't figured it out yet, or if they didn't do anything. And I'm sure we'll figure more out as the more that we play through it. The running theory right now is that Urays can only fully open or close doors. They won't do a soft close or a soft touch. So if you see one of
Okay.
those, you can rule out a Uray. Do not quote me on that. That's just the theory right now that we're working
Yeah.
based on. And it's kind of funny because Kinetic would always say, "Well, every ghost can fully close a door," or all this other mess. But it was like you would never see it outside of a ghost event. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
never see another ghost be able to fully close a door. Now it happens all the time. But if they didn't do anything to differentiate the Ure, then that's just going to be tough. And right now, it feels like there's not enough to kind of differentiate a Ure. There's stuff you can eliminate a Ure by, like I said, if the soft open or close works, or door touch, not necessarily open or close, but just soft touch where it doesn't fully open it or close it. If the ghost does that, you can rule out a Ure. Or if you smudge a Ure and it leaves the room, not caused by an event, less than a minute and a half, then you could rule out a Ure. But trying to figure out the Ure, I think it still does the double touch, but
That's what I've heard.
it's just a lot more difficult. And so I put it in the bad for now, but it could end up being like a good change. Or if they didn't do anything to the Ure, they just said we're going to buff every single other ghost and we're going to make Ure almost impossible to differentiate unless you're like crazy, then it may turn into ugly. But that was the one thing. And the other that's bad for everybody else, not necessarily us, but APOC 3 is a lot harder now with
Yeah.
the new objectives. So I think it's going to be more resetting for some of the objectives. That's one of the things that I'm going to be doing a lot of testing on. What is the best strategies now? What objectives do you want? How do you want to get the others? Like I think even getting the capture three videos, 3 unique videos or whatever, it still can be possible because you can record it during the hunt. You can get it stepping in the salt. You can get it going through the motion sensor. You can get like a lot of different things with it. I don't think it's definitely more difficult, but I don't think it's like crazy impossible. But I do think it's gonna kind of boil down to we want to reset for more different objectives, but maybe not. I do want to play more APOC 3 to try it out, but right now it's just bad for people who do not have their APOC 3 trophy yet.
Yeah, I feel bad for them.
So, ugly, for the ugly of the update, what do you have for ugly?
Yeah, the one thing that stood out to me when you asked me was the tier 3 sound recorder has fingerprints all over the screen. I can't stand it.
Yeah, somebody in my stream pointed that out to me. I didn't pay attention to it because I don't really look super close in depth at it. I'm just kind of worried about other things. But somebody pointed out, and I was like, "Oh, you're right, it does." But I definitely see where that would annoy people.
It's completely unnecessary. I don't know why they have it in there.
Yeah, I don't think any of the other screen items have it.
No.
That is funny. We should keep along with funny. I do have one kind of serious one, but 2 funny uglies. They took away the Obake moonwalk, and
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has ever seen the Obake moonwalk, but it is one of the funniest and awesomest things that could have ever happened in the game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if the ghost was the Patient 7 ghost model and the ghost was an Obake, I think it was like if it shapeshifted into itself or something during the hunt, it would start walking backwards. So
Yeah. It'll crawl backwards too.
yeah, it would crawl backwards. It would be the funniest thing. You'd be like looking at this ghost, like, wait, is that walking backwards? And it's just the funniest looking thing. Which again, funny in a horror game like this, probably not intended. But I really wish they kept it in the game because it was such a niche thing. But it was like if you knew what it was awesome. And I hate they took it away. I was one of my goals to get the Obake Moonwalk, and I think I got it like twice. But it
I got it
was
twice too.
always awesome whenever I saw it. I love Obakes in general. They're my favorite ghost of the game. And it was just one more cool thing about the Obake. I think it has a lot of cool, unique things. That's why I love it so much. And I'll always get hyped seeing the shapeshift mid hunt. But the other thing that's ugly is Kinetic trying to punish us people who use freedom units. So if the ghost has freezing temps and you're on a Fahrenheit, aka freedom units, you cannot take a picture of it. You have to turn it to this weird, funky thermometer temperature setting called Celsius or something like that. Don't know what that means. You have to take a picture of that one instead of the freedom units. But
Yeah.
that's tragic. I heard a rumor that you use this weird Celsius reading in your game.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was the default, and it's easy to see when it's freezing because it just goes to 0.
It is easier, but it was way too confusing when I first played, so I immediately switched it to Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing to note with that I think Alien confirmed on his stream when I was watching him. You can take a picture because it was always if it reached exactly like 32 point something or 0 point like 7. If it reached that, it was like freezing. You didn't need to reach 0 or negative or anything or below 32. It was freezing. And he actually took a picture of the thermo at like 0.7 and it registered as freezing temps in the picture.
Okay,
So
good.
that is an actual thing. But that's just a joke, ugly. They know about the issue. They're gonna fix it. But it still pains me
Okay.
whenever
Just switch to Celsius for now.
negative. I feel like you just called me an insult with that. Um, but a serious ugliness, I guess you could say, is I really feel like duplicates are a way bigger issue than what they need to. And I really feel like duplicates should just be taken out entirely. I don't know out of everybody's stream that I watched who fills stuff with duplicates. From people and from reading like the Phasmo Reddit or watching videos or reading comments, like nobody has ever said, I love to fill my book with duplicates. It's always, we don't have enough deletes to delete the duplicates. So I feel like they
Yeah,
should just get rid of duplicates altogether. Like, what's the point in keeping it in there? And
right.
it may be like, well, it requires you to be more strategic with the items you place. But at the same time, I feel like it makes items useless. Like the higher tier stuff you play. Like I remember when I first started the game, I was like, motion sensors, I don't really need it unless it's an objective. Don't care. Now they're a really, really useful item because for stuff like Agorio, the Ure Smudge, Shade, so much stuff, Banshee, Stalker tests, you want motion sensors. But if you're trying to get a different recording and you have motion sensors set up, it might record the motion sensed again. So you're required to now take down the motion sensors, which are going to help you identify the ghost, or at least identify traits to help rule in or out things, just so you can get a unique recording. And like same thing with the salt. Like, yeah, you don't want to place down like a huge line of salt, but you might want to place down salt in different parts of the room just because you don't know where the ghost is, or you want to track like, okay, is it going to leave the room, do the salt this way? But usually when the ghost goes for the salt, they keep walking. And then if they keep going through multiple things of salt, it's going to register as disturbed salt multiple times with the recording. So it's
Yeah,
like asking you to take away stuff that's going to help you keep track of the ghost just to get rid of the duplicates so you don't waste all your deletes for stuff that you don't
yeah.
actually want deleted.
And I thought it
And
was, sorry.
no, you can go ahead.
I thought it was way too easy to get, especially if you get a ghost that's throwing a lot in the room with you. Way too easy to accidentally just keep getting the same ones over and over again. The object thrown, or if it's particularly uh messing with the door a lot, because sometimes it'll just keep doing that over and over again. You'll just keep getting that instead of something else that you were trying to record. I thought it was way too easy to use up all your deletes because of that.
Yes, very, very, very easy. It really stacks up. And it might be like, well, this is really, but maybe it's going to be too hard to do that. But then explain to me why we don't constantly get ghost orbs recorded, which was one of my worries. Then after that, I'm like, wait, what if we keep
Yeah,
on getting duplicate ghost orbs? It seems like you can't.
right.
So,
Once it gets it, it doesn't register
yeah,
in the video camera anymore. Why can't they do that with object thrown?
exactly. That's
Yeah,
that's what, because getting duplicates don't really matter. Like, so you miss out on $1 extra or something. It, to me, I think they just should get rid of duplicates altogether. I think it should
yeah,
just be just unique. I think it'll save the headache and the hassle of worrying about different things or having to take away items that are actually useful for identifying the ghost, like motion sensor or keeping track of the ghost, and like salt and all that, or worried about, oh, well, I need to get this object thrown, but it just walked through this motion sensor and then through the object and it's going to pick up motion sensor instead of the object. Like, just get rid of duplicates. I feel like
yeah.
I don't think people would have an issue with it, but it somebody would, please let me know if you get duplicates to fill up everything. But I don't know of anybody who does. I feel like it's more headache.
Absolutely agree.
So Repo also had their new update this week,
Yep.
which of course they've been having the open beta that you could play and get feedback along the way. And um, honestly, the one of the best things that I can say about Repo and with the update and with everything is it's probably one of the best developers that I've seen actually take feedback. Like if
Yes.
you compare to when the beta released versus this update and changes they made along the way, like I think almost every single thing that I complained about that I did not like was fixed in some way. And I just hats off to developers for actually listening to feedback from people. Like
Yeah.
it's you don't see it that often. Not to like just stand their ground and be like, oh, well, we doing this because of this, and we're not going to change. They're like, okay, well, I see why
Right.
people are mad. How can we tailor it back some to not make it like super easy? Like for instance, overcharge, where you would hold on to an enemy, and it was trying to get rid of people picking up enemies, throwing them down, and basically making a joke out of the enemies. So they instituted it, overcharge right away. People complained it was too difficult. They tailored it back, and then eventually they did the moon phases to where now for the first 10 levels, you don't have overcharge at all. And because people were like, well, the early levels are now too hard. And then they increased it to where now you get more health at a lower level from the ship regen at the end. And I just think like out of everything that was in the update, just the developers listening to feedback and fixing things along the way, would just hats off to them on that.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with this dev team.
Yeah. What's one of the things that you liked about the update, repo update?
Well, one of the things that I love is the new map.
Yes.
It's it's not just a new map. It's all new challenges altogether because they um make it so that you have to basically do parkour to be able to get to certain areas. Um the and especially in the higher levels, there's much more difficult uh extraction points to get to. So there's a new, it's not just a new map, it's actually a new level of gameplay that they added, uh and new challenges, which I am so impressed with that because a lot of dev teams wouldn't think of something like that. They want to keep uh their users engaged, and I find that so refreshing.
Yeah, I had that on one of my good things too. I love the museum. Like I think every single item in there is brand new.
Yeah.
The new items are awesome. They've got some crazy gimmicks with it. It's extremely unique, and I think that's the one thing which they're still going to do even more of with the older maps. But every map in that game is unique, from the items that you get in them to what they're about. Like if you're going to Swiftbroom Academy, you're going to get like a lot of wizard stuff. There's going to be cauldrons. There's going to be like outdoor areas and different like crazy lava pits. And you go to Headsman Manor, there's going to be a lot of like narrow hallways, and there's going to be some big pits that you might fall in. And same thing like with McJank, you got the narrow pathways you got to deal with all the time on there. And just the way that they make everything unique is just extremely, extremely well done.
Absolutely. I agree
And
with that.
like I mentioned earlier, I think the moon phases were a really good idea. And was one of the things which we had mentioned before was developers over tailoring their stuff for the hardcore players. And
Right.
it was,
And we were worried about that at first.
yeah, because that's what it seemed like. It was like, okay, well, these top tier players who are getting to like level 100 are just bossing around these monsters. How can we stop that? Well, if you make it
Right.
harder for them, you in turn doubly make it harder for the beginners or the people who just play it casually, like maybe once a week or something on the weekend, because
Yeah.
then they can't even make it past like level 4 or 5, and which is a
Right.
lot of people, because there's a lot of people like on Reddit, on the repo subreddit, who was like, I can't even make it past like this level. I feel like I'm the only one. And it's like, no, you're way more common than the people who play it a bunch. No life it like me and Zoth, but
Yeah.
who can get farther, because I can't, like, it's funny going through my save files, because like I swear, like every stream we end on like level 8, but I don't want to start that one. I want to do a new one so I get acclimated to it, but it's like we just never all get taken out if we because we play it all the time. So now I got a bunch of like level 8 save files and junk. Uh but there's way more people who struggle, and that's what it was early on. Like, we could still deal with some of the hardness that was the early betas, because we were familiar with like the mechanics of the game and what to do. But for casual players, they were like absolutely screwed, because they had no idea
Yeah.
you couldn't attack the monsters with items anymore.
Yeah.
You couldn't grab them if you did knock them down. Like, just, but now that's back. Like, you can
Yeah.
knock them down early. You can grab them for a while. You don't have that overcharge until later on. And
Yeah.
you heal more health, because that was one of the complaints, was we're not getting enough health now. Okay, this is what we're going to do to
Yeah.
fix it. Uh moon
That was one of my
phases.
biggest complaints too.
Yeah. Yeah, great idea with the moon phases. What else did you see that was good with it?
I love the photon blaster. That's my favorite item in the game now. I'm not
Yeah,
really keen on the cart cannon and cart laser.
I love
They're
those.
fun. I think they're fun. Yeah, they're fun for casual players who just want to, blow shit up. But for, for trying to get to higher levels and stuff, the photon blaster is definitely my go-to weapon, and I absolutely love that. And the shotgun also, which isn't new, but
Yeah, and
those two items make it worthwhile.
I had that on mine too. The new weapons, like pretty much almost all the new weapons they added, are pretty cool, pretty fun. The
Yeah.
pulse pistol is a cool new thing you can deal with. They increased the ammo for the shotgun and the regular gun. Just they added the crossbow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just so much stuff they added to help better deal with the monsters, and I think that was a good thing. And to go along with that, price capping the crystals and health. Thank God they do
I
not
know.
indefinitely increase, because that was one of the things which, again, the devs listened to, because they were like, we want basically people to use the weapons to take care of the monsters versus just throwing them around or using items. Great. So
Yeah.
in turn, you have to buy more crystals. Well, the crystals would end up being like $40,000 each. And then
Yeah.
you're still trying to get upgrades and trying to do other stuff. And then you can't use the weapons as much. It made the harder levels a lot more difficult. You can't restore your health as much, because, again, that's going up to like $50,000 a health pack. And you're like, "Oh, I don't know what to spend it on or how I'm going to survive this." So like now crystals cap at like 24K or something. Health is like maybe like 15K, or maybe a little bit more than that, maybe around the same as a crystal. But either way, it's like enough to where you could get health packs for people. Still keep it up. You can still keep up the crystals to be able to restore all these items. Very,
Right.
very well done with that. Uh,
Yeah. Because at the high levels, like we are at what, 65 right now on my save file. And everybody has weapons. So we have to buy out the crystals every single time. And now at this level, it's like there's not enough crystals in the shop to keep up with everything. And there's not enough health. We so I think that's a whole new conundrum.
yeah, yeah, and a couple other things that I thought was good. A toggle mute button, fantastic. So I don't
Yes.
gotta just hit escape, change my option to push to talk, and then wait till the end. I can just toggle it whenever I need to, and that
Yeah.
was really good. And added the stamina regen when you're hiding. It goes faster, and I think
I like that.
that's
Yeah,
a really
that's
good
my one of my
change.
goods too.
Happy to be able to get away more often. Um, I think that's pretty much it for the good things, which is almost like everything added. Like, I don't have a lot of negative things to say other than some of the things that were or were not changed. But do you have anything else on good before we get into some of the bad of the update?
No, we can discuss the bad. Let's talk about the new upgrades.
Yeah, uh, not a big fan. They added tumble wings. They added the stamina region. You could do it faster for when hiding. Uh, I think those were the main two. Did they add another one? I feel like I'm
That's
forgetting
it.
one, but I
Yeah,
think that
those are
was
the
it.
two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, they just don't feel like overly
Useful.
worth it. Strength first is still the way to go. And
Yeah.
that was what I said with my bad is like they put all this stuff to try to prevent people from getting strength first, but it still feels like strength first is the OP method. And instead of trying to do more to fix that, they went ahead and added stuff that not like overly necessary and
Yeah.
nothing like crazy. But I'm sad that items used as weapons were still nerfed, even though you can knock over monsters now in the earlier levels. The items take way more damage, and
Yeah.
pretty much for the larger monsters, will take 2 items to take the monsters out versus just one. So nothing bad. It's what they wanted. I tend to find myself not using them as weapons, and except for like the smaller items early on to take out like the spewer or animal upscream rugrat that type stuff. But for like the bigger monsters, I'm typically not gonna bother trying to take them out with items.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a little bit disappointed in the crouch rest upgrades. Because it doesn't really make it go that much faster when you have like one or two crouch rest upgrades. It really doesn't feel much faster than just baseline crouch resting. So you need to have like four crouch rests before you actually can see a significant difference. And the tumble wings, I might just be missing the point of these other than having cute little wings, but you still take damage when you fall. You can fly further across the room, but I really haven't never had a need to do that.
yeah,
So I
when
don't really see the point of them at all.
because they nerfed them after they released it. Like when they first released, you could actually fly out of pits with those. If you fell into a pit and you had enough upgrades, you could fly out of it. So I was
Wow.
like, okay, maybe these are pretty good, and they nerfed it. And yeah, now it's like I don't see the point versus just other upgrades in general. Like I still
Yeah,
feel like I'm gonna prioritize strength, health, stamina, range, like
right.
an extra jump or even one
Yeah,
or two sprint speed just to help get away. But before I would get anything else like that, and
yeah.
the last sort of thing for the bad, which is nothing to say about the devs themselves or the game, but there wasn't really much different from the beta. If you played the beta and you played it up to date each week, you pretty much saw everything. The devs did say in a video that they didn't show everything in the beta, but unless it's just like lore paintings or something else, I feel like I didn't notice anything different from the update
Me neither.
than anything from the beta. So again, I had to put something, in bad. Because really, a lot of the bad are just like preference stuff. I really because I don't have much negative to say, and even like my ugly, pretty much nothing. But like you had mentioned, the upgrades, I'd say they're ugly because I really have like I don't buy them. And I don't feel a need to, and I don't feel it's worth it, and I feel like it just ruins strength. So that would be like my ugly, but really, I mean, I don't see like anything hugely wrong with the update. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. No, I still get the crouch rest upgrades. It's just it doesn't make a significant difference until you've got a good amount of them. I'll still buy them. But the tumble wings, I don't even use the tumble launch anymore. I used to
Yeah.
use the tumble launch before they added all these new weapons. I felt like they kind of nerfed that whole ability to attack the monsters with your body
Yeah.
because especially if you've got the tumble wings, you're not gonna hit them. You're not gonna hit them very hard.
Yeah, man. Are we too hard on the tumble wings? Please let us know. Maybe you'll absolutely love it, and we're missing the point. But
Yeah,
I don't really see it. Overall, great update. Both great update. Hats off to Kinetic and SemiWorks for both of
absolutely.
these. We had a lot of fun. I mean, these are our two main games that we play really. Phasmo
Yeah,
and Repo, and look forward to finding more out about both. And it's always an exciting time. Now, you did still manage to play some indie games, so
I
let's.
did.
I did not play any of these, so I will not have much to say other than I listened to it. I listened to you play it. I didn't really watch it all, but let's. You take it away. Tell us about what you played this week.
Okay. All right. The first game I want to mention is one called Stuck, and this is one you told me about, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it sounded pretty
This,
interesting when I found it.
yeah, this was a game called Stuck, and it's the first chapter. So I guess it's kind of like a demo. And it's called the introduction chapter. And this dev was called Nar Forge. This was a game about a kind of purgatory, and they describe it the game as chapter one of a psychological horror series that explores isolation, guilt, and the slow collapse of the mind. It's a PT style game where the story unfolds as you move forward through the hallway. Overall, I think it was a great story. Good, good jump scares, good puzzles, and potentially a very good series. I would love to play the other chapters when they do come out. Another one, I don't know, were you the one that told me about this meat grinder game too?
I don't think
Somebody did.
so.
Well, this was Meat Grinder by Panic Panda, and this was a fun game. You move to a new town and open up a hot dog stand, and when the meat supplies run out, you start to have to resort to some shady practices. This was just a demo, so there wasn't a whole lot to do. Um, but I did love it. It was a little clunky at the start trying to figure out how the mechanics worked, like trying to grind the meat. It took me forever. I was throwing the meat everywhere because you can throw stuff in the game. And you don't like click and hold to add the meat to the grinder. You just kind of got to throw it into the grinder. Yeah, so I was trying to figure it out. It was a little difficult, but I got past it pretty quickly, and I really enjoyed the game. It had some questionable dialogue, but I think that adds to it. It's kind of a comedy horror, but it is a pretty creepy story, and I'm gonna be checking the full version out for sure. The next one is You've Changed by Burkus. This is the one that I told you last week. He came into my Discord and suggested I look into it. You know, I love observation duty games. And this is an observation duty style game, but the graphics are like retro DOS game. Very interesting. Only the house level is available, and there are three other unavailable levels. This was a demo, and only arcade mode is available right now. But there's also a story mode that will be available in the full version. So when the level loads, you have different scenes, basically like different rooms in a house. Not quite like security camera, like observation duty, but just like a straightforward scene. You're looking into a room. I absolutely loved it. It was challenging. The creep factor is very strong, and I've got this wish listed to see the full game when it comes out. I we both played Eclipsium, so I went
Yes.
back to their Itch.io page, and they had another listed. This was a game jam game, and it felt like the precursor to Eclipsium. It was the same style, very short but very spooky. Absolutely loved it. I can't wait to play the full version of Eclipsium and see what else these guys do. Another one was an older game. I don't know how long it's been out, but it's Teke Teke Moonlit Dread by Mido. It's a game inspired by a Japanese yokai, urban legend of a woman that gets cut in half. And the teke teke is the sound of her crawling with just her upper torso. And this had retro PSX graphics and mostly takes place in a convenience stores. It's very short, but it had decent jump scares and was a very good game. Then we had The Midnight Bus by It and Feel, and I really liked this one. This was a standout for me. Basically, you have to take a late night bus, and it's in a snowstorm, and then you find yourself alone, stranded in this bus after you fall asleep, and something outside wants to eat you. There's a radio on the bus, and it shows some Morse code when you first click on it. So I stopped everything and translated it, and it says hunger in Morse code. It's a very simple and unique game, and it does a great job of making you feel like the dread of an unescapable situation. The sounds in this game were what really sold it to me, though. It did a great job of keeping you alert and paranoid. It was a really good one. The last one is Brevsky's Library by Vuk Dobrik. I played another one by him, the one called A Quiet Place. This one, the graphics were a little different. They weren't so cartoony, but you could tell it was a similar style of game. But this one was a lot spookier. You start a job in a dusty old library as a cleaner, and you uncover some dark secrets. I don't want to spoil it, but I would recommend this game. It's short, but a little more action than A Quiet Place. And that was it.
Awesome. Yeah, I have You've Changed on my library. I wanted to play that one. I was listening to you play that one as we were on the road to go eat, and I just had your stream pulled up on the audio. But
Yeah, it
it
was
sounded
good.
like it was pretty good. So I didn't see like what all the anomalies were or anything. So the art for that game looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. A lot of games that try to be retro, because I'm old, I know what games were like back in the day. A lot of games try to look retro, but they don't actually look retro at all. But this one nailed it. This one nailed it. It actually looks like a DOS game. Beautiful. Loved it.
So as of now, the Steam Summer Sale is going on. So do you plan to pick up anything in that sale?
Oh, I don't know. I have some in my wish list that I would like to get. Among the Whispers, obviously, is one that looks really fun to me.
Yeah, that is a lot of
Uh,
fun. I would recommend that one.
yeah, I have a lot. A lot of my stuff is not released yet. Also, Reveal is one that I've been wanting. I watched gameplay of it. I absolutely love that game, and I still don't have it. I'd love to pick that one up.
Yeah, well, Happy's Humble Burger Farm is on sale for like $4. So I'll probably pick that one up and
Hell yeah!
play it. And the other side, I'm gonna pick that one up. That's on sale,
Yes.
it's like $3 off or so. But you know, $11, not too bad. I want to play that one. It seems like very interesting ghost hunting type game. So those two I'm for sure picking up, and I think that's like the main ones that I'm at least 100% gonna pick up.
Yeah.
But I know you
I look
love.
forward to seeing you play Happy Humble Burger Farm. I love
Yeah,
that game.
yeah. I know you love that one and that one. Uh, I've seen it before a long time ago. I don't remember who it was I saw playing it, but then I watched you playing it as well, somewhat off and on. So I don't really know too much about what goes on, but I do look forward to that. And we have a lot of other reviews and stuff for games that might be on sale. So check out the other episodes of the podcast. I'm sure there's stuff you can find. Last week we talked about Death Watchers. So that is a game I definitely recommend people checking out. So, yep, happy hunting, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.